Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Ariel Andrés Sánchez Rojas with us today. He's founder and CEO at Clio Circle AI. Has been board manager at Caramanfe for 12 years, also been a professor and founder at Betti so quite the extensive experience here. Uh, Ariel has an interesting LinkedIn description, wants to predict the outcome and achieves desired goals. So he's been featured top 100 innovations, nominated as Health Tech of the Year in US. Today we're going to talk about his health tech. Podpire is presenting that one. That is my podcasting company. If you want to start a podcast and scale it with AI, you can go to podpire.com or ebook and masterclass will help you get leads, connections, and new neurons are bred because podcast is amazing to learn. Ariel, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Hello, Charles. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's really nice being here with you and meeting you about all the stories you usually take. They are really interesting. Well, my life is it's kind of a different types of a story that you will find. Actually, I graduated as a historian, so you will ask how a historian became an entrepreneur, and it all began in 2015 in Africa. Actually, I was traveling in into Ghana. I was in Accra. I spent there a month, and my job was to teach about the human rights to the people of Ghana. So I don't know if you've been to Africa. It's a really difficult continent. You see, South Africa for them it's like white. The north is the Mediterranean, and the east is kind of Middle East. So the real Africa, they say, it's in the west. And I was there for a month,
The French one.
living. Ah,
The French one,
yeah.
like
I was
Senegal and all of that.
Yeah, it's kind of near Senegal actually. It was above Mali and Burkina Faso. So I was 19 years old. I did my high school in New Hampshire, actually in New Hampton School, yeah, in a boarding school. I never had such experiences. So now I was 19 and I was in Ghana, where everybody is from Ghana. There's no people around from anywhere else, and that's where my entrepreneurship began. Actually, I had some books, and I went to the schools, primary education. I was with the kids, and I taught them about their human rights because they were an English colony, and when they got independent, they just copy pasted their constitutional rights. So yeah, you can't harm me, you can't rob me, you can't enter to my house, you can do a lot of things, and those are common rights you have, but they didn't understood why, because rights are a thing of your culture. It's like your home. You don't do this here, something like that. So when I came back to Colombia, I started my first startup. It was called Mi Derecho, My Right, and it was a huge success. I was a historian with a YouTube channel. Basically, it was the beginnings of software as a service, of apps, of all of these companies that now are really famous and IPOs. And we had 10,000 users, 10,000 students from schools reviewing all of our material, and we did the same, teach the rights to the people. Well, I did a dual degree at JD with law, so I could talk what I was talking about. And I didn't understand well about businesses by that time, but I understand that a brand can change lives. A brand can do a lot of things for the people. So a company is not a company. A company is just a brand with a mission and a lot of people trying to tackle such problems. And this is something really important because there are a lot of negative incentives, such as becoming really rich or having the biggest company in the world, or things like that. That those are the consequences of a good work. So when I started at 19 years old, I found out really quick that everything that you do, you will have to do it because you have a common purpose with the people you serve, because you are a people of service to the people. You serve the people, the customers, you serve to them. And that's the reason of everything, service. You need to be really empathetic with them. And The more you listen to them, the more successful you become. And then I was like 20, 21 years old. My interest changed, so I took a side from mi derecho, and I became a triathlete. I did Ironmans, and I spent most of my early 20s training, biking, running, swimming. I was doing half Ironmans and full Ironmans, and such experience taught me something really important, that is consistency and action. Something really simple. Charles, if you said you want to do a marathon, it doesn't matter how many books you read, it doesn't matter how many marathonists you meet, it doesn't matter how many shoes you buy. It doesn't matter how much you dream about it, how you change your diet. The only thing that matters is that you put your tennis shoes and you go to a jog. You go do a run. And one day you do 1K, and 2 days later you do 5Ks, and you just do it for a long time. So what I learned being an Ironman was you need to be consistent on your actions. It doesn't matter the results. It doesn't matter if you are feeling well or if you are feeling bad. It doesn't matter anything. The only thing that matters is that you move your feet. Becoming an entrepreneur is the same. The only thing that matters is, yeah, that you pick up the phone and you start dialing your customers. Doesn't matter if you're a PhD in product, if you are the best at the best in your research area, nothing of that matters. And that's the reason of my background. I Since I'm 19 years old, I've been creating tech companies. I have never worked in another company. I have been board member of different industries. I'm working traditional sectors, but I have never worked in another startup, because in mi derecho, I learned that the only one that will tell you what you need is the customer, not your boss, not how you relate to the industry or the experience, not the CEO. It is only and only the customer. So I took action, and I just started becoming an entrepreneur. Then
Love
I did
that.
Betti. It was
Yes.
a financial software. I was 24 years old. It's really funny because the technology I needed in 2020 to work, it's only working now. It was transformers. It was a simple um, machine learning process where you scrap the data and you tell the people how to save taxes. It was really simple. It was a basic code, and we started helping small and medium businesses. We did it for 3 years. It was with my best friends from school. It was great. And at the end, 3 years later, they offered us a buyout of $500,000. We didn't invest in anything. My investment as a CEO and founder was like $50, something like that. Because tech is really simple. If you know how to do it, you don't need big resources. You need a good founder that knows tech, and you need to know how to sell. And if you don't know how to sell, well, it doesn't matter. You just need to know how to call someone or send a mail. You know how to write, you know how to speak. You don't need to know a lot of the things. You will learn it from them. So at Betti, it was a great experience, but it was a really unsuccessful experience on my side because there was a lot of suffer, and we were very anxious about many things. But the most important lesson I had is you need to have a structured sales process. We didn't have a structured sales process. All of us were selling the same things at the same time with the same method, with the same leads. That's a waste of time. There's someone that needs to be taking care of the customer. There's someone that needs to be like the sales engineer, is showing the product, solving the product problems to the lead, to the opportunity, and there's someone to be making the cold calls. You can be the same if you have a lot of experience, or you can learn, but in our case, we didn't have enough experience, so we messed around a lot. At the end, it was a happy story because we could do something good. We helped companies and we had an exit. So it was something that was really interesting for us. We learn a lot, but we suffer a lot. And that's the other thing. You do not only need consistency, you need endurance. Because suck. And most of the days, you're not gonna have big wins. Most of the days are just breathing, getting good food, doing the work you have to do, Do not make any excuses because the market doesn't care, and bringing results. It doesn't matter if it's a $100 million sales or a $10,000 sales. The only thing that matters is that you put the effort, because one day the opportunity is going to come and you will need to have the experience. That's what happened with us at Betti. So I finished my time there. I was invited to an incubator in Spain, Demium. I started working with a Web3 company. It was in the carbon market, credit cards for the carbon market. It was great. So, oh, give me a second, please. I'm sorry. You will need endurance to succeed in whatever you need to do. This is really, really important. So when I went to Spain, I was with some founders that were really older than me, and they like this principle because they came from, well, they were vice presidents or seniors in really big companies, but the skill you need to have when you're an entrepreneur is really different. You do not need to have the answers. You only need to have the grit. You need to have the desire. You need to accomplish things that people haven't accomplished before. So you're not going to find the stories in the books, nor in the radio, nor in TikTok, nor in X. You're not going to find it anywhere. You're only going to find it every day with your work. When I was at Demium, at the end, it didn't work out very well. I decided to come back to Colombia to be with my wife. She's a lawyer, so she couldn't live in Spain. And so weeks later, I was hired as a country manager of a really successful tech company, where I learned that to succeed when you are scaling, you need to solve cultural problems. It is to say, the problem is something. In this case, was the problem was that math education wasn't proper, wasn't really good. So they create a great solution, and it was really successful. Most of the most successful edtech company in Series A you can find. So they have a PMF in Spain, and it was great, but they didn't find PMF in other countries because they thought that the value proposition was the same in Spain than in Colombia, and that's a huge mistake. We eat tacos in Bogota too, but the tacos in Mexico City are very different than in Bogota because of the people, because of the sauces, because of the relationship. Everything changed. So this is something that I found out in a good time, that if you want to have an international company, the problem you solve, it's not the solution of the product, it's the solution of the culture around the product. You live in Mexico and you're from the US. You understand how this goes.
I'm from Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah,
Well,
even better. Um, yeah, no, there's definitely something there with the PMF. And tell us about Clio. Do you feel you have a PMF around Clio right now?
well, quickly is a really interesting story because we started in education in schools. We got 15,000 users the first year. It was great. We got 8 schools. Schools are big companies, so it's a slow sales cycle. It's not like selling software to small companies. No, it's really difficult. And we opened the scope to HR, and it's been great. We have had meetings with companies. We have done pilots, and we are in closing stage with companies that have $45 billion revenue. Huge companies. Yesterday, we had a meeting with the International Inter-American Development Bank to make an alliance so we can improve our data for them and to create better education in schools around the world. So I don't think we have PMF in Clio, as it is common to know, but I think selling to enterprises and big companies, you do not think that way because there are not that many to see. Oh, I'm selling $20 million every day. This is huge. It's another game. It's a little bit more difficult. You need a little bit more of expertise, but you only need a few resources to create big gains. So
And what
the
is Clio about? If you can explain the concept and the value
great,
proposition.
great. That's a great question, and I should have started with that. Clear is an AI software that predict how they use the feelings, the emotions, and the behavior of our users. So there is a reason, Charles, that you make decisions the way you do, and that you solve problems the way you do, and that you learn the way you do. The reason you behave, it's something objective and scientific. So we create a scientific approach around coping mechanisms with a really good theory, a PhD theory from the 90s from Berkeley. And we create a simple UX, really simple UX, where you can know how you behave when you have a problem. Are you someone that yells and gets really angry and doesn't know how to stop? Are you someone that feels lonely all the time and feels really independent? No one knows how you behave. No one knows how are you feeling. No one knows what are you living. Are you someone that feels really uncomfortable when there's conflict? You can't put boundaries? You can't people to stop? Or are you someone that is a great problem solver, but it's really anxious, really nervous, can't work with teams? These are archetypes, and the worlds work like that. I don't know if you know a little bit of anthropology, but you can study Bourdieu with the habitus concept. It basically says that our thoughts, our actions, the way we see the world, it is shaped by other people. Like you have a software system in your head, and the coding system was written by someone many years ago, and it's been written all the time the same, and it's your job to change it. So at Clio, we create such tools. Understand the way you behave, the way you feel, and make decisions around it. So with this,
Right.
we create personalized education. You do not get better at math having 10 more tasks, math calculus tasks. You get better at math if you become a better listener or if you make better questions. You see, the way you behave and the way you learn is throughout the emotions, because emotions are our universal language. And that's Clio. Clio is the goddess in in the Greek mythology. If you like Greek mythology, Clio is the goddess of history. She is the daughter of Nemesis, memory, and Zeus. And she is the one that is in charge of listening all the stories in the world and shaping a universal language. Emotions. Emotions is how we behave. So at Clio, we have a predictive tool that identify how you solve problems throughout your emotions and your feelings, and we improve the outcomes so you have a better well-being. In HR, we reduce burnout. In in K-12, in education, we reduce bullying, we improve well-being, we improve academic performance, and now we are entering mental health in a B2C industry. More difficult, but more interesting.
And where's the AI? What is AI about it? Like I see,
That's
I'm
a
doing a questionnaire right now, and where would I reach the AI part after I
that's
filled these
that's a
36
great
questions?
question. So the tech, we are a RAG LLM. Why? Because the information we have doesn't come around from everywhere, the internet or anywhere else. It's from the user information. That's the retrieval augmented generative part. The LLM is, well, just the large language model and the large content behavioral model we use to solve the user questions. So when you finish the test and you see your coping profile, Charles, you will have a chat. And well, now the chat is kind of, we have been working on improving it. Sometimes it has its bugs, but with the chat, you can solve whatever problem you have. But where is the magic? We have a random forest process in the machine learning process where we will be analyzing, we will be reviewing, observing what are your decisions or your actions when X event is happening. Such X event, it's mostly in education and HR, it's not much in mental health, but such X event, we will keep track of it. And we will see what are the actions that are more probable for you to make and create a better scenario for them. For instance, it's Sunday. We know that Charles is behaving like this, doing this. This is happening with Charles, the autonomous, the problem solver, the one that solves it all. Well, Sunday afternoon, probably he's organizing his schedule, his week. Probably he's getting ready. He might be anxious about some things that are coming, and the most probable action he will make, or the most probable emotion he will have, is this one. So let's clear. Let's talk to Charles. Charles, remember that you need to breathe. Or Charles, this is happening right now. It is important for you to, and it will create you a hyper personalized problem solving material based on your emotional needs. Because, and you will see it when you finish the test, you will see some probabilistic, right? Some probabilities in the sub skills. Those are the probability of the decision making you do. For instance, if I were an autonomous, a problem solver, but I can't communicate, I can't work in teams, I need to do it all alone, my worried or my obsession will be really high, because when I have a problem, I obsessed. I can't think in anything else. And I will not listen to anyone, nor my peers, nor my teammates, nor my wife, nor my family. So each coping profile, Charles, what is giving you is the tool for your success, so you can make better decisions. We
Right.
have the last mile technology with the most deep human emotions.
Right. And what's the ROI for businesses using that? Seems that it's a hard sell to a big corporation. I mean, they're already into
Actually,
that with their HR programs, but seems like a long shot that a company would invest into that. But if they would do also, like, what would be the price range per employee?
we charge $120 a year per user, and the
Okay.
rate is huge. The turnover cost in HR is up to 200% of the initial labor cost. It's huge. And losing people because HR couldn't see what were their emotions. Like, oh, I thought I knew that Ariel was an obsessive guy. I thought he was, but I didn't have any scientific approach to know. I thought I knew that the only thing I need to do was put Ariel and Charles together. Charles a great problem solver. Ariel is kind of shy, but Charles had the energy for him to pump it up, you know? This is the information that is really valuable for them. And in education too.
It's interesting. Yeah, I'm yet to get to the AI part. So it's like a freemium on the front end. Like after you answer all these questions, is that the model?
Uh, we are leaving the mental health part free for users to try it on. We will start charging in April, I believe. We will start charging. And for education and HR, for B2B, it's completely different process. You will
Right.
have some parts of what they have, but you will not have it all.
Right. Okay. And right now you're going B2B on your side, but the website is customer facing. It's B2C. Interesting. Where can people find out more about Leo, Ariel?
Well, first of all, sign up, do the coping test, know yourself, make better decisions, use the app. Tell me if you love it, tell me if you hate it. Even though if you hate it, call me, tell me why. And you can check everything about us in our webpage. And in April, I will be in San Francisco and in San Jose. We will be showcasing Clio in the Computer History Museum the 2nd of April. So if you are in Silicon Valley, come and meet us. And in San Diego, the 5th and 6th of April.
All right. That was Ariel Andrés Sanchez